we're going to be learning about the white-tailed deer, and we're going to be reading a story on Epic by Chris Bowman. As we're reading about the white-tailed deer, we're going to focus on the life cycle of the deer, when it's born, as it gets older, and once it becomes an adult. What are white-tailed deer, you ask? White-tailed deer are hoofed mammals. They live throughout much of Canada and the United States and Mexico. These deer often hide in forests. They are also found in deserts, prairies, and swamps. So over here we have this great text feature of that's called a map, and it shows us where white-tailed deer live in the United States and parts of Canada. How could you identify a white-tailed deer? Well, a white-tailed deer has a white tail, and this white tail is used for when they're running away from a predator. They put their tail up and it helps warn others that there's danger. So they have a white tail and there's white on their behind. And they have some white on their face. White-tailed deers have reddish-brown coats in the summer. Their fur fades to a grayish-brown in the winter. They have patches of white by their eyes, nose, throat. Their bellies are also white. These deer are named for white fur on the underside of their tail. They raise their tail to show the white when scared. This warns other deer that danger may be near. Finding food. White-tailed deer search for food in the evening and early morning. They are called herbivores. An herbivore is an animal that only eats plants. In summer, they eat leaves, fruits, and mushrooms. They chew on nuts and corn in the fall. Twigs and bark are winter foods. They also have a four-chamber stomach, so to digest their food, they actually have to throw it back up and eat it again. If you were a white-tailed deer, animals to avoid would be gray wolves, coyotes, mountain lions, and black bears. White-tailed deer must be ready to run from predators. Those are animals that might eat them. Even in thick forests, they can run up to 30 miles per hour. This is unusually fast to outrun bears, wolves, and other animals. Bucks and does. The male white-tailed deer are called bucks. So when the male is full grown, it's called a buck. They grow to be bigger than females or does. So a female is a doe and a male is a buck. Bucks grow up to 6 feet long. Their shoulders are about 3 feet from the ground. They weigh up to 300 pounds. Every spring, bucks grow a new set of antlers. Remember, the buck is the male. They use them to fight over does. Then the antlers fall off in the winter, and they regrow antlers every year. We can tell that this is not a buck because what's missing? Yes, it doesn't have any antlers. A doe gives birth to up to 3 fawns at a time. White spots cover the fawn's back. These camouflage them from predators. So we know that the baby or fawns have white dots on them. And the doe, the larger female, doesn't have the dots and she doesn't have antlers. Does live with their fawns for about 1 to 2 years. The fawn is usually able to walk right after it's born. It will start getting milk from its mother, but will start eating other food in a matter of days. At the end of 6 weeks, the fawn is eating on its own. The white spots of the fawn help them hide from predators. At 3 to 4 months old, fawns usually lose their spots. They stay up with their mom for 2 years. Then they have fawn of their own. And males tend to only stay with their mother or doe for 1 year. It loses its spot before winter of its first year of life. At this stage, the deer are called yearlings. This is a doe right. This picture shows a doe. We know this is not a fawn because a fawn is a newborn white-tailed deer that has spots on it. A yearling is a 14 to 18-month-old white-tailed deer. It no longer has the white spots, but it looks smaller than its mother. A doe is ready to have a fawn when she is about 2 years old. She carries the fawn for 6 months and then gives birth to the fawn around May or June. So this year, starting in May or June, be on the lookout for little fawns that might cross the road trying to stay with their mother. Here we have the buck. A buck is an adult male white-tailed deer, and you can tell it's a buck because it has antlers. They grow these antlers when they're around 2 years old. Male deer travel alone. Let's review the life cycle of the deer. The beginning of the life cycle is when a fawn is born, a newborn white-tailed deer. They are reddish-brown with white spots on them, and these spots help it camouflage. You'll learn more about how the spots help them camouflage during the week. They look similar to their parents, but the one difference is the white spots. So if you see a deer across the road with white spots, you know that a fawn's just been born around May or June. As the fawn gets older, it's called a yearling. A yearling doesn't have the white spots anymore, and it looks similar to a doe, but it's much smaller. As they grow to an adult around 2 years old, the males are going to grow antlers, and the females will not. So you can tell them apart from the antlers. So antlers are bucks, and females are does. Bucks are males with antlers, and does are females with no antlers. So we go from fawn, yearling, to adult with a buck or a doe. I can't wait for you to learn more about the deer this week, especially how they digest their food and how the baby fawns are able to camouflage.